Good morning, children. Today, I am here before you to teach you the subject social science since we are new to each other. Let me introduce myself. You know my name, Asha Uman, and I'll be teaching social science for you. And for today, I have chosen a lesson, What Democracy, Why Democracy? Chapter 2 from your political science textbook. What Democracy, Why Democracy from your political science textbook, Chapter 2. We are not doing Chapter 1 right now. Okay? Now, this lesson is not a very difficult lesson because you have already learned about democracy in your lower classes. Do you remember learning about forms of government in class 6? Yes, you have learned about different forms. Which were the different forms? Military rule, dictatorship, monarchy. And then we went to study about the next form of government, democracy. Yes, and the differences between each of these. And we concluded that lesson saying that democracy is the best form of government, it is the most preferable form of government, and it is now being adopted widely in almost all democratic countries of the world. So, in this lesson, we are going to learn about democracy in detail. We are going to learn about democracy in detail. Now, first let's see. Our topic is what democracy from the lesson. This word democracy is taken from a Greek word demokratia. Is taken from a Greek word demokratia, of which demo means people and kratos means rule by the people, rule of the people. So, democracy, it's a form of government, and now we heard it is a government where people rule. Okay, now how will they rule? They will rule by electing their rulers. So, democracy is a form of government which means rule of people. So, people choose their rulers or elect their rulers. So, by this definition, every government where elections are held and rulers are chosen by the people, they should be called, or it should be called, a democracy. Where elections are held, rulers are chosen by people, it should be called a democracy. But actually that is not so. All elected rulers does not behave as democrats, and hence those governments cannot be called a democracy. Now, you should know how it is possible to differentiate between a democratic government and one that pretends to be a democracy. How will we differentiate? So, if we know the features of democracy, the features, the characteristics, how should a democracy be? What are the features it should have? Then we will be able to differentiate easily this form of government correctly and the one which is not a democratic form of government. So, the first feature is the elected rulers takes major decisions. The rulers are elected by the people and major decisions are taken by them, or must be taken by them. That would be the correct word. Elected rulers must take the major decisions. Elected rulers must take the major decisions. Okay. Now, to know Now using this feature, on the basis of this feature, how will we differentiate or how will we know whether the democratic government of Pakistan is a democracy or not? In Pakistan, or that country Pakistan also had a democratic form of government and had an elected government. Democracy means an elected government. In Pakistan too, the country had an elected government. But General Musharraf, a military chief, in the year 1999, led a military coup. And what did he do? And overthrew this elected government. So, by a military coup, who did it? General Musharraf. In the year 1999, he overthrew this elected government in Pakistan and he declared himself as the chief executive of the country. In a sense, a ruler for the country, a chief executive of the country. In 2002, he again changed his designation from chief executive to president. He called himself the president of the country of Pakistan. He called himself president of the country Pakistan. So, and then what did he do? Now he has to stay in power for long, otherwise he will not be able to get his desired result in the country as a leader or a ruler. For that, he held a referendum. He held a referendum. What do you mean by referendum? He held a referendum. Now, what do you mean by referendum? It is the invitation sent by the ruler, the president or whoever the ruler is, inviting the whole electorate, electorate meaning all the people who are supposed to vote on something called he invited the electorate to come and vote on a particular proposal. So, referendum is the situation when an entire electorate is invited to vote on a particular proposal. That is the meaning of the word referendum. So, using this referendum, the self-chosen, I am using the word self-chosen president of Pakistan. The self-chosen president of Pakistan, what did he do? He got for himself the right to remain in power for the next 5 years continuously. To remain in power for the next 5 years continuously. And so that was granted to him. The people, because he is a military ruler, he has taken the rule by himself. So, mostly it will be the military officials that will be there in the electorate. They will of course obey him. They will be forced to obey him. So, the electorate voted for the proposal which granted him the right to continue ruling for the next 5 years. In the same year, he also issued another official order by named Legal Framework Order. He issued another official order by name Legal Framework Order. This official order issued by the president will allow him to bring changes in the constitution of the country. And by amending the constitution, what did he try to get for himself? To gain power to dismiss the national and provincial assemblies. To dismiss the national and provincial assemblies. Why? Because there are elected members from the people who may not agree to all what he did. They might oppose. So, he didn't want them there. So, for that he amended the constitution and got power to dismiss the existing provincial and national assemblies. Later, after some time, election was held to the national and provincial assemblies once again, and what happened? And the chosen leaders were given a few powers, more powers to the military officials. And the most power rested in the hands of the General Musharraf, who has declared himself as the final authority, the president of the country. With this in hand, he will be now powerful enough to take any major decision on his own without consulting anybody. So, he is not an elected ruler. He declared himself as the ruler for the country, and through amendments in the constitution, he gained the power to make major decisions by himself for the country. So, is this feature, the elected rulers of the country must take major decisions existing there in Pakistan? No, it is not there, is it not? He is not allowing them to have any powers and to take decisions. And also, he is not an elected leader. So, but one factor is there. Elections are held in the country. So, it seems to be a democracy, but actually not. It is a pretending democratic government in Pakistan. So, now you understood the first feature. The second feature is free and fair elections. The second feature is free and fair elections. Now, we will take the case of China and Mexico to understand this feature clearly. The two words free and fair elections. Free means the people should have freedom to do certain things, and there should be fair. The election should be conducted fairly. Nobody should interfere. No malpractices should be involved to elect rulers through the election process. Did that happen? If not, why and how? The first one is we will take into consideration China. Here, elections are held every 5 years regularly. In China, elections are held regularly every 5 years. And the people have the power to appoint their parliament, the National People's Congress, and also to appoint the president for the country, and also to appoint the president for the country. But only members of the Chinese Communist Party, that must be the official political party, allowed to contest in elections in this country, China. So, that country has an official political party. Only members belonging to that party or its friendly parties will be allowed to contest an elections, and people had no other choice but to choose candidates from this party alone. So, always, even though regular elections are conducted, always what will happen there? Only members from the Communist Party will be chosen. A communist government comes to power after every 5 years. So, is there a free choice for the people? The people do not have, the citizens do not have a freedom to choose the leaders they like according to their wish. No, they have no choice. Next, fair elections. So, there also the people doesn't have a free and fair opportunity to choose their leaders of their liking. The next one is in Mexico. Now, what happens in Mexico? Yes, so before moving to Mexico, let us see whether China has a real democratic government or a pretending democratic government. Elections are held, so it should be democracy. But what is not there? A free choice is not granted to citizens. So, there too, what do you have? A non-democratic or a pretending democratic government in existence. Now what happens in Mexico? There too, elections are held correctly after every 6 years and the people are allowed to choose their president in that election. But until 2002, what happened there always elections were won by a party by the name PRI. Elections by the name PRI. A party by name PRI, Institutional Revolutionary Party. Institutional Revolutionary Party of Mexico. So always, just like in China, elections were won by this party and only members of that party usually won and formed a government. Did the people have a choice? Were they allowed to choose? Were they allowed to change their rulers if they wanted to? Because continuously it is the same group of members that become or that forms a government. So people might feel bored with them. They might not be satisfied with how they are working for the people. So naturally they will want to change. So is that freedom there? That is what we have to find. So opposition parties were allowed to contest elections. In contrast to what happened in China, there it was not allowed. But in Mexico, other parties are also, candidates from other parties also are allowed to participate in elections. But never won. But never won, only candidates of PRI won. Now how did they make it possible? So this party PRI went for unfair means or dirty tricks to win elections. Went for unfair means or dirty tricks for elections. During the time of election or even before, almost when they are nearing elections, what will they do? They will force all people to participate in meetings held by the PRI to know what they are trying to do for them, that there's somebody very good and great and they will be helping people in all ways, they will stand for them, etc. will be their agenda. That will be what they would try to make the people understand. So, and they will force the people to vote for PRI. Also, the media was allowed to speak only about PRI. The media was allowed to speak only for PRI. So, people have no freedom to choose. People have no freedom to change their rulers. Media, the press was denied freedom to do what they would like to write in their newspapers or whatever they are. And the last resort, they also tried to change the polling booths to create trouble and confusion among the voters. Naturally, some of them will back out from going. Maybe it will be shifted to a far off place. Then naturally, many voters will not be able to reach that place on time. So, there will be decline in the percentage of voting. So naturally, what happens with all this, with the press in their hand, people in their hand, the election machinery in their hand, what could they do? They could easily win the elections. They could easily win elections. So this PRI was always in power in Mexico, denying freedom to voters to choose and to change their leaders if they wish, because there was no chance in Mexico in any way they could change their rulers. Same members, and people were forced to, machinery was in their hands, so nothing could be done. They could not change the PRI from being elected one after the other elections. So, there in China and Mexico, when we studied, we understood that there was no free and fair elections conducted in these two places, not allowing the people to choose, not allowing the people to change their rulers, not allowing the people to choose, not allowing the people to change their rulers if they wanted. Now the third one, what is the third feature? One person, one vote, one value. That is the next one. Meaning all people should be granted, all eligible people, citizens should be granted voting rights. And whoever it might be, their vote should be considered the same and each one should be counted in the same manner. That is the meaning of one person, one vote, one value. But there are places around the world where this does not exist. All are not uniformly allowed to vote, nor are their votes considered the same. It is not happening. So what happens there? Which are those places where denial to right of vote is existing? First, in Saudi Arabia, even now women are not allowed to vote. Then a place called Estonia, people belonging to Russian minority cannot vote. In another place, an island, Fiji, in Fiji, votes of the native Fijians, native, that is the original inhabitants of Fiji, an island, that their votes had more value. Their votes had more value. So, which clearly tells us what? Voting rights are not equally distributed in all these countries, which is against the ideals of democracy. No political equality granted. So, those countries, these named countries also does not have this feature of democracy, one person, one vote, one value, and so they too cannot be said to have a correct democratic form of government formed, but one that is pretending to be a democracy, Now, the last feature is rule of law and respect for rights. You have already learned what rule of law is. What is rule of law? The law is equal, or all citizens, whoever he or she might be, is the same for each and every one in that country. Any mistake made by anybody, let it be big or small, educated or not, the mistake will be considered the same, and what will happen? The law is applicable to all. The punishment can be the same. It is applicable to all in the same way. That is what is meant by rule of law. Next is respect for rights. There are fundamental rights granted to democratic citizens, and it is our freedom and right to be allowed to enjoy those freedoms. Nobody can deny, nobody can say no to us. Yes, nobody can say no to us. So, let us see what happens. That is rule of law and respect for rights. For this, we are taking a case study of place Zimbabwe. We are going to take the case of Zimbabwe. Now, what happens there? There too, the ruler of a party called ZANU-PF. That party is called as ZANU-PF, a political party of Zimbabwe. The leader was Robert Mugabe. Since independence, it was he and his party that kept on ruling which place? Ruling Zimbabwe. Now, how did he gain power? Just like Musharraf, he also was a little selfish thinking man. He wanted to be the ruler. He wanted to do what he wanted and use the resources of that country for his own needs, his own popularity. So, he too denied basic rights to citizens. So, this only by doing that, it cannot be a rule by the people, is it not? That is what we began with. Democracy is the rulers being chosen by the people. Here also, in all the cases that we studied, we saw that election is held, but people were not freedom to choose their rulers according to their wish. So, here too, this man Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe denied basic rights to citizens and used unfair means to ensure victory in all elections conducted. How He did not allow people to hold any public meetings, not to demonstrate and show their protest against all what this man and his group of leaders were doing in the country. He did not give freedom to the press, nor did he allow freedom to judiciary. He always interfered in all what was being done by the courts, the judiciary. So he denied basic rights to citizens, he denied the existence of an independent judiciary, and also he denied freedom to press and media. So if this word denied goes along with all what I said, which should be granted to people in a democratic country, can this government that has been formed in Zimbabwe, where elections are held, it is said, can it be called a democracy? No, it is not a correctly formed democracy. But what is existing there? But there is a non-democratic form of government in existence, in practice, because there is denial of all these. So now, after studying all these features, rulers elected by people who must take major decisions, free and fair elections, then what did we learn? One person, one vote, one value, and denial of basic rights to citizens. We learned all this. Now, keeping all this in mind, shall we try to define democracy in a more better way, in a more correct way? Yes. What should be the first point for that? The rulers elected by the people must take all major decisions. So, democracy is a form of government where people choose their leaders, and those chosen leaders must be allowed to take the major decisions. Second, when elections are held, there should be fair and free opportunities for people to choose and change their leaders on an equal basis. Either choose them, or while they choose, if they want, they can change their existing rulers. That is why it said on an equal basis. The next, while exercising this freedom of choice, what will happen? It will lead to a government formed on constitutional rules and citizens' rights. Why constitutional rights? We had learned that in class 8, when we learned about constitution, that it acts as a guideline according to how a government should be formed in a democratic country, what are its functions, responsibilities, powers, etc. That is why it is said this leads to the choice or choosing of a government formed on constitutional rules and citizens' rights. So now what has been answered? Our question, what is democracy, has been answered. That is, that democracy is a form of government where people choose their leaders or change their leaders when a free and fair election is conducted, where people are given eligible voters or citizens are given voting rights uniformly, and their vote will be considered the same with the same value. The rule of law should exist, and the respect for citizens' fundamental rights should also be there in a democracy. Then such a democratic government formed after conducting regular elections can be called a correct democracy, not a pretending one, but a correct democracy. You have understood? Any doubts to be cleared? It is very clear, is it not? Since you have learned, you can just recollect what you have learned and join the new points to it.